What up, everybody? This is take two. Sorry about the previous live stream. I forgot to have my microphone on. But let's double check real quick that it's actually live streaming right now on YouTube. Uh, okay. I just finished watching Superman and Lois season one, episode two, titled Heritage. Um, Spoiler alert: there will be spoilers in this review. Again, spoiler alert. Let's start with the stranger, the villain, because we kind of grazed on him a little bit in our talk last week, but we didn't get too deep about it because he was more of a it was like a post credit scene when he's like, "Oh, he's Captain Luthor," dun dun dun, and now the writers kind of throw in a little bit more clues, a little bit more hints for us to help us kind of put things the two together, if you will. Um, because I looked them up right after the episode last week. I tried to look up a bunch of fan websites of Superman to see what the theories or the speculations are out there regarding this stranger. And one theory is that he might be Lex Luthor Jr. from another Earth. Because remember, we had dealt with multiple Earths, with the crossover of CW. So we now know there's multiple Superman, there's multiple, Flash, multiple Batmans. And so this guy must have come from one of those alternate or parallel universes, and he's holding a grudge on Superman for what his other Superman did, not for what this Superman did, for the other one. That's the theory, at least. And he's gaining grounds on this episode tonight, not just in terms of action or physical stuff. Like, also, it seems that he's getting into, or beginning to, or at least planting the seed of doubt in General Sam Lane. General Sam Lane is a dick, by the way. Oh my goodness, he is a jerk. And Dylan Walsh plays him so well. Plays this jerkish Sam Lane. Like, he's so against Superman having a family. He's so against Superman moving back to Smallville. In his mind, because generals, what's the old saying? If you are a hammer, then all you see are nails. So to him, Superman is nothing more than a weapon, for him to, or an attack dog, for him to to help with the defense system, or I can call Superman whenever there's threats. He's a weapon. We need him for war. He can't be playing house. So I think that if you've seen tonight's episode, you'll see that one of the things that Captain Luthor did was that he kind of tried to get Sam Lane to see things from his perspective. At least tiny bit starting to. It's like, hey, we gotta beat Superman. Superman's not like us. Come on, Sam. You're not on his side. You should be on my side. So this Captain Luthor from another Earth is very smart, just like Lex, and very resourceful and very tricky. Like he's not easily. It's not easy to catch him, as you could see from today's episode. And his exosuit, because it reminds you of what Lex uses. I think in the comic books or in many of the animated version, Lex's exosuit is more like green color. Obviously, they kind of have to darken it a little bit because the tone of this show is dark. So I was like, oh, Lexus exosuit, the famous exosuit. Of course, it gives him the ability to fly, super speed, super strength. That exosuit allows him to be on equal level with Superman, basically. Sometimes even more. So yeah, this is a really interesting plot or interesting arc that the writers have chosen for this first season, and it officially has me intrigued, most definitely. I forgot to mention last week when I said to you that this Superman is kind of like David Fincher meets Zack Snyder. You know, the tone, the color palette of it. I forgot to mention that it also looks like a Superman show that's not on CW. You know, this looks like this whole show looks like a Superman show that's on HBO or on Showtime or one of those premium, channels where they kind of take things more seriously as far as the drama goes. Um, this is nothing like any of the CW superhero shows. So, which I love, which I really love. So, just want to throw it out there. As far as the kids go, Jordan and Jonathan, I'm glad that they address the whole Jonathan, you know, frustrated with being, with having to move from Metropolis, his life to Smallville. Because Jordan, we know that, Jordan has to somewhat train. Um, but Jonathan, it made back last week, it did cross my mind. It's like, wow, that was easy to convince Jonathan. So I'm glad they kind of addressed that it's not easy for him. This is cool. I think the writers really think things through for the characters. The characters are well thought out, and I appreciate that. Because whatever question that we may have about this tonight's episode, for example, maybe it'll get addressed. It'll get addressed in the subsequent episodes. So I appreciate that. So I was like, Jonathan was like, I up and left for you, man. It's like, so Jordan had to kind of like have a brother to brother moment with Jonathan, and which is awesome, which is kind of sweet and very endearing. Um, Another revelation is that Jor-El is played by Angus McFadyen. If you don't know who that actor is, he's from Braveheart movie with Mel Gibson. And he's also played he's played a lot of bad guys in the past because he can carry that villainous role. And so for him to play Jor-El, it's an interesting choice. Not only because Angus McFadyen is massive. Okay, I'm not calling him names. Just he's a plus size dude. He's a big guy. This is like even when Marlon Brando played Jor-El back in the Christopher Reeve movie, he wasn't that huge yet. This is like the biggest Jor-El that you've seen, appearance wise, and but also because Angus McFadyen has played a lot of bad guys roles over the years, it adds another. I don't know. When you see him as Jor-El, you're kind of suspicious of him. In other versions of Jor-El in the past, of course, Jor-El sometimes has manipulation, sometimes he has his own agenda. But here it's like really like, wow, I don't know if I can trust this Jor-El because Angus McFadyen plays him like somebody that you can't trust. At least in my opinion, at least. So what a fascinating casting choice. I was taken aback by that. I was like, whoa, when I saw that. Ooh, that's Angus. Okay, cool. um, the writing in this episode too, still solid for the most part. I feel like some of the dialogues, especially Lois Lane's dialogues, some of the dialogues have exposition in it. Like it has to explain things to us in details. Like instead of letting us figure it out. I'm like, I I don't know. There's some like in one of the conversations between Lois and Clark. Lois explained things to Clark, but it's as if she's explaining it to us. The audience is like we're fifth graders or so. Like I don't like being dumbed down to. I don't like don't dumb down us. Like sometimes just let us figure it out. So there are parts about this episode that kind of clunky to say the least, or like for lack of a better word. Um, Overall, I still enjoy it. As far as Morgan Edge, I don't know. I don't have strong opinions about Morgan Edge right now. Maybe in this, when I see more or when they reveal more in subsequent episodes, then I can probably say more. But uh, the thing with the whole, because now Lois is investigating Morgan Edge, investigating, whether he has bad intentions with Smallville. Uh, Here's what I'll say about that whole thing. I'll wrap it up in this summary. Basically, and I like the angle that the writer has picked for this one because it does kind of resonate with what's going on in our world today. Uh, where former factory towns are dying. There, people are left town because there's no jobs available. Stores are boarded up, and people sometimes, of course, rightfully blame that on finances or financial crisis or the economy overall. But much of that is also the bank's fault. People people don't realize that the banks sometimes they foreclose stuff, man. Not just houses, but business places too. Um, so it's natural for when somebody as rich as Morgan Edge comes into town and promises like, I'm gonna buy you guys out and I'm gonna bring jobs back and whatever. It's easy to fall for that. It's easy to fall for that promise when it's already when you're already at the point of desperation. Which is why even though the firefighter, the husband of Lana Lang, even though he's a jerk, not much of a jerk like Sam Lane. Sam Lane's on another level of jerk. He's just like a really dick kind of jerk. The firefighter, the Lana Lang's husband, Kyle Cushing, I believe that's his name. He comes, his concern comes from the right place. He's not like a bad guy. He's just part of the Smallville town, part of one of those guys who are like, we need this influx, we need Morgan Edge. His argument is like anything is better than nothing, which I don't believe that to be like. Generally, anything is nothing is just surrendering to the big man, surrendering to the man. Instead of sticking it to the man, we're surrendering. It's like, oh yeah, he's gonna pay me 5 cents an hour, but hey, anything is better than nothing, right? 5 cents an hour. Who can live on 5 cents an hour? And I'm exaggerating, of course. What's the minimum wage right now? $6. Who can live on $6 an hour? Nobody. You have to get like 3, 4 jobs. That's like work like freaking 50 hours a week or so, barely making rent. So the mentality, because you've been so knocked down so much on your knees that you get to this mindset where like, yeah, I guess this'll do. I guess this'll do. So it may seem like what Lois Lane is doing right now is going against the town's interests, but she's actually fighting for the town's interests. Because people like Morgan Edge in the real world, there's a lot of Morgan Edges in our world. Um, when they say that they're gonna bring jobs back, when they say they're gonna buy a town, there's always another layer to that, because they always thinking, what's in it for me? first and foremost. They're not thinking like, oh, how can I save the labor in this town? Because the moment that the labor or the people start to unionize, that's it. You know, Morgan Edge will see those people as enemies instead of people that he was supposed to save, right? So he's not the Superman to Smallville. Superman is Superman to Smallville. So I think I like the angle that the writers take for this. It resonates with a lot of the things that are going on in our world. It's relevant. It's very timely, and I like that the family members of Kent, right? Clark, Lois, Jonathan, and Jordan. I'm glad that they are being kind of pulled into different directions. You know, they each of them has their own dilemma, and every time that they start to want to have a family time, or like today in today's episode, a picnic, you know, they get pulled again. It's like, oh, there's something happening, either with Captain Luthor or Morgan Edge or Jordan and with the football team and Sarah Cushing, the crush. So it's great. It makes for a good drama, most definitely. And I think it's, like I said earlier, it's very well thought out, very well written for the most part. And I hope they maintain it that way. Less exposition, less, you know, trying to mansplain or dumb us down, please, and more of the family tension. I like that. So, but overall, another fantastic episode. Did I miss anything? Let's see. I've talked about Captain Luthor, Sam Lane being a dick, Superman. Oh, just one last final thought. You know, because of we're dealing with multiple Earth, so I mean, I don't blame this Superman for not knowing why Captain Luthor holds a grudge on him. He doesn't know the details about Captain Luthor at first, but it also got me thinking, like, because they went to the Fortress of Solitude and that did the whole crystal thing and the whole history of Krypton. So this multiple Earth thing, alternate realities, alternate parallel universes, which makes me to wonder, like, wow. So in all versions of this universes, all these versions of realities, you know, the outcome is always the same for Krypton. No matter which Superman, which Earth, Krypton always dies. I don't know if there is ever. Maybe there was. I gotta look up some of the comic books again. Maybe there was an arc where Superman tried, where one of the Superman from one of the Earths, or maybe Superman from another Earth, come to a different reality to try to stop Krypton from exploding, from destruction. Maybe there was an arc like that. I think that would be an interesting story to explore. But that's another topic from another time. But it's kind of sad to know that no matter which versions of Superman, it's kind of always the same origin story, and Krypton is just unsavable or unsalvageable. So that's it. Those are my thoughts about today's episode 2, Heritage. I'm gonna go film my next 2 new video reviews now, which I gotta be honest with you, I'm not too enthusiastic about these 2 films. You know, that's always the hardest part. When you hate something, when you hate a movie, or when you love a movie, it's easy. Because, you know, it's easy to come up with the words. Because either you despise it and then you just come up with, like, ways to trash it, or you love it and then you come up with ways to praise it. But when it's like meh, when it's like in the middle ground, or when it's like so-so, or it's like, yeah, that's the hardest part to review. At least in my opinion. So that's what these next two movies are about. So find out what they are tomorrow when I post them, okay? So thank you for tuning in. Share your thoughts. If you've seen today's episode of Superman and Lois, do you agree or disagree with my assessment? What's your theory as to what's going to happen next or down the road or in subsequent episodes? Any question? Any thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below. Okay. As always, subscribe, 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 subscribe. Let's rock this.